Hello everyone, and welcome to my new quad chimps guide, where we will be using Ezili and Prince of Darkness to absolutely murder this map. First, we have the starting darts, which, unlike most other expert maps, are actually very easy and not difficult whatsoever. First, this guy just goes as left and as middle as possible here. The way you tell that it's as middle as possible is by seeing that the range indicator goes equally on both sides of the tracks. This guy goes as right and as middle as possible. And this guy goes as high and as middle as possible. These spots aren't super specific, but theoretically could cause you to lose on round 9 if one of them is seriously off. For round 7, set your right dart monkey to strong. This is just to prioritize this green over the red, which is very nice. And then for round 8, just switch it back to first. And then also get yourself a 4th dart monkey, just as low and as middle as possible here. These 4 darts will save into Ezili, which is pretty nice, because that'll let us get Ezili on round 10, which makes her level 20 very cheap on round 100. Set your left dart monkey to strong for round 9. That should let you beat this round. Sometimes if one of your dart spots is off, I'm unable to pinpoint exactly which dart can cause you to lose sometimes. But usually you should be able to beat round 9. Set it back to first for round 10. And then get Ezili just as top left as possible here, once you can afford her. And no, her spot is not specific at all. You can also set her to strong, which is highly recommended for these upcoming few early game rounds. For round 12 though, get a sniper. Just somewhere up here. The spot doesn't really matter, but this top left corner won't be used for anything else, so might as well just put it here. And set it to strong, and you should be good for the next few rounds. For round 14 though, get an engineer right over here, kind of just as bottom left as possible. Just making sure that the range border barely touches the outside of the track right here. For round 15, if you want to get your second engineer as soon as possible, go for it, but you shouldn't have to. Ezili should very easily take care of this round. And then afterward, you can get your engineer right over here, just as top right as possible, while making sure that the range border just barely touches the edge of the track right here. And now we're going to upgrade both of these engineers to 100 sentry guns. Your first one you'll get on 18, and the second one on round 20. Or you could buy it mid-19, but it doesn't make a difference at all. For 21 though, get full metal jacket on your sniper. And now we're just going to go for a spike factory on the bottom left, which we'll afford on round 25. So, see you then. Ezili deals the camo on 24, which is pretty nice. So for 25, get that spike factory I mentioned right over here, just making sure that the range border just barely touches the edge of this rock, and almost touches the edge of this rock here. It should be firing in a very narrow range, so ideally it's only firing in one spot, but even this much variation is fine. And this is like some of the worst variation you'll see. And then get pin on your right engineer, so it's a 102. And now we're going to get a spike factory on the right side as well. You should be able to afford it here on round 30. Kind of just like this, so that it sees into the track just a little bit. And ideally it is attacking, because you kind of need it to be doing that. There aren't really any good visual indicators for this spot, so you kind of just have to trust that you placed it right. Which isn't very hard, and you could put it a little closer to the track if you really wanted to. The spot isn't super tight. And then for 32, upgrade your left engineer to a 102 as well, and then just get sprockets on it after 33. Pin Sprockets absolutely murders the early game on this map, which is really funny. Speaking of Pin Sprockets, get your right engineer to a Pin Sprockets as well. 36 is usually one of the hardest rounds on this map, but double Pin Sprockets just insta-kills it. For 37, get fast firing on your sniper. And here it might theoretically be possible to lose to the camos if you don't have enough spike buildup in the bottom left. If the leads hit your spike pile, which they'll definitely hit it a little bit this round, but not too much. Even with getting spikes this late, you can still win very comfortably. But for 38, get Sentry Expert, and this is where a little bit of RNG comes into play, which is a little bit annoying, but oh well, it's the only way I could really get this round 40 to be consistent. Pretty much for round 40, you need better than the absolute worst possible Sentry RNG. You need at least one Cold Sentry to kill the Moab insides, which you should get like 99% of the time. But then for 40, also get your Spike Factory in the top right to a 1-2-0, and you should have a Cold Sentry for the insides. This happens in 99% of runs, and it might only cause you to lose once or twice at most. It's very rare that it does happen, where you don't have one Cold Sentry for the insides. And it's weird that we're relying on Cold Sentries because these tend to be the worst Sentry from Sentry Expert, but oh well. For 42, get your Wizard right over here, just as top right as possible, but then moved bottom left a little bit, just so that the range border goes like at least a little bit into the bottom left like quadrant. Upgrade this Wizard to a 0-2-2. We'll turn this guy into our Prince of Darkness later. And then get bigger stacks on your Spike Factory as well. This is just barely enough to deal with all the camos. And yes, it is consistent. 43 gets destroyed. On 45, get your left engineer to a Sentry Expert as well. These two guys are going to be very important in our Prince of Darkness save up, so might as well just get them now. For 46, get a village right over here, kind of as top right as possible. It shouldn't affect your Sentry Expert or your Wizard just yet, but when you upgrade it to a 1-0-2 Monkey Commerce with bigger radius, it should affect both of them. And then just get Shimmer after the round ends. Theoretically, very bad Sentry RNG could maybe cause you to lose on this round. I've never encountered it, and this round has never even gotten close, ever, for me, so you should be good. But then, for 49, get Necromancer. And if you want, you could also get Jungle Drums mid-round, but you don't have to. I'm not going to. And then, to start our mid-game setup, building I guess, get Jungle Drums on your village, and get an Alchemist right over here, in discount range for your Necromancer, and upgrade it to a 3-2-0. The Moab should not stand a chance on round 50. And now, our top side's a bit lacking, so let's upgrade it quite a bit. Get a village right here. Similar thing to how we did it with the first village. It should just barely not affect Azili and your Sentry Expert quite yet, but when we upgrade it to a 1-0-2, it should affect both of them. And then, we're just going to get spiked balls on our top Spike Factory. And then we're also going to get spiked balls on our bottom Spike Factory, but we're actually going to get the faster attacking cross path first, just to reduce some RNG. Oh yeah, Necromancer RNG could theoretically be a thing here, but no, It's just not going to happen. Get spiked balls here on 55. And then, just to round out our mid-game setup, get jungle drums here, and then we're going to out-buff both of our spike factories with 301 alchemists. You should be able to afford both of these alchemists by the end of 58. And now we're going to start our save up to Prince of Darkness, which we should afford in the middle of round 75, just before the round gets tough. The mid game is where Azili really carries, so that's nice. Hex round 60, and you should be good. I'll see you on 64 because that's the next round where we actually have to do anything. Actually, I kind of lied. On 63, just watch your two Sentry Experts and your Necromancer just murder the round. Pin Sentry Expert is actually stupid good on this map, in my opinion at least. And it absolutely carries the save up. On 64 here, set Azili to first, and then just use Hex. Hex should get pretty much all of the Moabs, and you shouldn't have to deal with any insides, which is very nice. And we're just going to leave Azili on first as well. On 65, Hex the BFBs. And next Hex is going to be on 71. So see you then. On 71, just Hex when the Moabs show up. This round would be fairly tough if we didn't have Hex, so yeah, it's nice that Hex just destroys it. On 73, use another Hex. And do not Hex 74 because we need it for 75 desperately. As you can see, we're just barely off affording Prince of Darkness. So what we want to do, Hex when you see the fortified Moab. Should destroy those two things, and then boom, get Prince of Darkness quickly. Hex should also just destroy the rest of the round, which is very nice. And it'll let Prince of Darkness build up some zombies. You can use a Heartstopper on 76 if you'd like. Shouldn't be needed. It just gets insta-killed. And just to pad Azili's stats a little bit, you can use a Hex on 77. Those BFBs died pretty quickly. And then for 78, remove the top and the bottom obstacle. We're not going to remove the side ones because those aren't important to this strategy, it's just the top and bottom ones which are. And then we're going to start building some extra defense on the top side because it is objectively weaker. Because the bottom side has the Prince of Darkness Wall of Fire, which is slightly ridiculous. We're going to get a glue gunner here in discount range to the right of this little hedge thingy. And then get it to a 024 Relentless Glue set to strong, and you should be good. For round 80, just use a Hex when it lets you, because I don't know why it doesn't. And then for 81, get a Boomerang right above your Relentless Glue, in discount range obviously, and upgrade it to a 024 Moab Press set to close. The reason we want to set these guys to close instead of strong on the top side is because pretty much what that lets it do is they'll push back the things going from the top lane, and they won't focus this lane or the top left lane as much, which is fairly important. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Before 82, you want to get a druid right over here, just as bottom right as possible here, above your engineer. 302, Druid of the Storm. And same on this side. 302, Druid of the Storm, next to your engineer. Ideally, you do this before the round, but mid-round works just fine too. These guys aren't explicitly needed in this setup, they just help prevent RNG, which is very nice. And then for 83, get a second Moab press, right above your other one. Kind of as top left as possible while still in discount range. And set to close like your other guy, because we want to prioritize the top right lane over the top left lane. And then we're going to get a Moab glue on the bottom side as well, because now our Prince of Darkness is starting to need a little bit of support. Kind of just as as bottom right as possible while still in discount range. Just a 013 Moab glue set to strong for now. We'll get this to a 024 Relentless later, but not quite yet. First, however, we will get a third Moab press on the top side, just as top left as possible here. Same upgrades and targetings as before. They should make this like triangle here like this. If you want to use a hex on 85, go for it. Shouldn't have to though. I would rather just save it for 87, but using it on 85 should be okay. Speaking of round 87, let's upgrade that Moab glue to a Relentless glue, as I said we were going to do earlier. And then just use a hex on this round, the instant it lets you. It should target the bottom ZOMG first, because that's the one we really need to target first. Remember how we got 3 Moab presses on the top side? Let's get 2 on the bottom as well. Just over here, as top right as possible. 024 Moab press set to strong. These guys are going to be on strong as opposed to close because it's just better on this side. I can't really explain why, it just is. Use a hex on the around 88 ZOMGs though. And then, for 89, just go for your second press on the bottom side. You should get press on 90, and then the cross path on 91. But, something we want to do on 90, hex the DDTs. This is because, since the DDTs come out quickly, oh yeah, make sure to get that press. Since the DDTs haven't come out quickly, or since the DDTs do come out quickly, my bad, we don't have time to build up a spike pile yet. So, killing the ceramics can sometimes be an issue. That's the closest I've ever seen 91 look. You should be fine. For 92 though, set Azili back to strong. She's been on first since like 64 or something. And then get a ninja right over here. Just somewhere here in discount range. This spot works just fine. And upgrade it to Shinobi, and then we're going to get Bloons Sabotage the instant we can afford it. We also do want to use Hex when you see a ZOMG. And ideally it targets the bottom one. Just buy Sabotage as soon as you can afford it. I would personally just spam click the button, as that'll ensure you get it quickly. Ideally you stall out 92 a little bit like I did there. Sometimes that won't always happen though. And then for 93, just use a Sabotage off cooldown. And then hex the DDTs again. And we do get hex in time for 94, which is pretty nice. On 94, just use Sabotage and hex off cooldown. and you should be good. Boom, and boom. This round might look a bit sketchy sometimes, that's normal. But then, for 95, get spiked mines on your top spike factory. We desperately need this for the DDTs this round. You just lose horribly without it. And even with it, it looks a little close sometimes. What we're going to do, sabotage the instant you see a DDT, and then a few seconds after, once like 6 or 7 have popped on the top side, just use a hex. This just reduces the amount of like balloons on the top side and will help your spiked mines deal with everything a lot better. Because we used a hex and a sabotage last round, the first bit of 96 can look very scary. I've never lost to it though, so you should be fine. Once the ZOMGs show up, just use a sabotage and another hex. It might just go on that ZOMG and you'll only be able to kill like 1 or 2 with it, but oh well. Oh, there I actually got a lot more than I thought I would. That's nice. For 97, spiked mines on your bottom left spike factory too. And this round will take a long time, so just be patient. Your prince should have a full graveyard going into 98. What we're going to do here, we're just going to use a sabotage once the ZOMGs from the left start to turn up. Boom. And then use a hex once you see Azili's curse on those ZOMGs. So once you see that weird like thingy, that weird effect on them. The effect was on them, and you use hex almost instantly there, and it should just wipe them out pretty easily. And the rest of the round just gets dealt with. The reason we're not spending anything here is so we can get Azili's level 20 for round 100, because that's just the easiest way. But we do have a little bit of budget for this round. If anything gets price nerfed in the future, what you want to do here might change, but the best thing to do for 99 is to just get an engineer here, cleansing foam, targeted up here, and the weirdest thing I've ever done in a Chimps run, 103 lead to gold alchemist set to strong. This actually does a very small amount of DDT damage, which actually makes this round way safer. It's really weird. But what you want to do is sabotage a few rounds, or a few seconds after the round starts, and hex when you see a fortified DDT. Lead to gold is coming up super clutch here, doing just enough damage to help pop the round down. And then get level 20 on Azili for round 100, and hex off cooldown, and that's it. Boom. With that, you should now have your quad Chimps black border with Azili, Prince of Darkness, a goated setup around it, and then lead to gold. I hope this guide helped you out in some way. Have a nice rest of your day, and goodbye.